We about to get right into it. We about to get right into it. Hold on, let me find this post real quick. If you don't know by now, my name is Jon Belcher, aka Jadiscrete. Jadiscrete is my stage name. You can search that name on any music streaming platforms in order to find my music and stream my music. I would greatly appreciate it. I would play you a snippet of my shit. I will play you a snippet of that heat, but I ain't gonna do it right now. I ain't gonna do that right now. I would play you some fire right now, cause I got some fire in the tuck. I got some fire about to come out. I got some fire that I'm working on right now, but I ain't gonna do that. We're gonna talk about this Kanye West post that he put up earlier on, and he was talking about these record labels. You know, I've been talking about these record labels. I've been talking about the music industry lately and how things appear to work. I'm gonna say appear to work to me. And it's gotta be truth to it, because every now and again you always seeing these mainstream artists complaining. Every now and again you always seeing these famous artists complaining about situations going on behind the scenes having to do with their business dealings with the record label. So earlier on, Kanye West posted on Instagram and he said, "This is what they do to independent artists." And I thought it was funny that he mentioned independent artists, because obviously we know Kanye West is not an independent artist. But he said this is what they do to independent artists. And he also posted a post in the next slide, right? And this is what he said, right? What he showed in the next slide was a screenshot of a text message that he received from one of his partners, right? His partner's name is John, and he texted him. And this is what the message said. But before I read what the message said, just to inform you, you know what I mean? The other day, Kanye West and Ty Dolla $ign dropped a joint album called Vultures 2, which is the sequel to their first album called Vultures, right? So the first album they dropped together came out, I think, a couple months ago, like less than a year ago. And they just now dropped Vultures 2. And because Vultures 2 dropped, that's why he's talking about what's going on with that album now. And he posted on his Instagram, Kanye posted on his Instagram saying this. He posted a screenshot of somebody who texted him, and the text said, this text is a text that was sent to Kanye West, by the way. So keep that in mind. This text was sent to Kanye West. And it says, co-head of Atlantic, Julie Greenwald, just called me. She just got fired. She said the new head is not going to give us a grace period to handle Atlantic's compensation. Talking about Atlantic Records, the label. She suggested I let Too Lost and Create know that 40% of all revenue, 40% of all revenue from V1, Vultures 1, and Vultures 2 needs to be paid to Atlantic. She's saying that if we don't handle immediately, Atlantic will issue takedowns for both albums. Please advise. And Kanye put the caption, this is what they do to independent artists. Now, I don't know if you know about any business dealings, but this is a mainstream artist. Kanye West is a mega superstar. He's a mega superstar. And Atlantic is pressuring him and Ty Dolla $ign to pay them 40% of whatever they earn from the sales of Vultures 1 and Vultures 2. Now, I don't know if you know, but 40% is a big portion of a pie. 40% is a big portion of a pie. And Atlantic's, they're demanding this money right away. That's what that text message just said. Atlantic Records is demanding 40%, damn near half of all the money they receiving on Vultures 1 and Vultures 2 that Kanye West and Ty Dolla $ign made. The label wants 40% right away, or else they're threatening to take down their music. They're threatening to take down the album so people can't stream it no more. People can't check it out no more. People can't buy it. Now, although these guys are rich, from what it seems, what it's been looking like, that's still a form of slavery. That's still a form of slavery. That still seems a bit much. You ain't even create the album. You not the person who wrote the album. You not the person who delivered the music. And you demanding 40% from these superstars in the music industry as a record label. This goes back to what I've been saying. The labels don't give a fuck about the artists. They don't. They don't care about the artists. The labels care about the money. Point blank period. The labels care about the money. We talking about a megastar complaining about feeling like, basically he's complaining that Atlantic is demanding an extremely large portion of their revenue and they want it right away. So who's Julie Greenwald of Atlantic? I'm gonna look her up right now. I'm gonna tell you exactly who Julie Greenwald is of Atlantic. That particular text message said that she got fired. Julie Greenwald. I'm gonna look it up right now and I'm gonna tell you exactly who she is. All right, it showed her right here. I'm gonna click on Wikipedia. You can see it right there for yourself. I'm reading it right off the phone right here. Julie Greenwald is an American music industry executive. She is the chairperson and CEO of the Atlantic Records Group. Period. She's the chairperson and CEO of the Atlantic Records Group. So they ain't lying in that text message. I guess she ain't the CEO no more if they fired her. But what does that text message show? What was Kanye West exposing? What Kanye West is exposing is the unfairness of these record labels. How a lot of times they be robbing these artists. 40% is a large piece of the pie when you gotta pay a lot of people who was involved in the production of the album. This is why I say people be wanting to get signed so bad. They be running to get signed to everybody. All these up and coming independent artists, they want a record deal. I want a record deal. I want to be signed. Do you really want to be signed? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you really want to be signed? Like, is that really, are you sure that's what you want? Because being signed to a major record label means that you don't have as much control of your music, clearly, as exemplified just now, right? As exemplified just now by these screenshots right here. Clearly, they're threatening to take down their music, all that hard work that they put into those albums, all the time they put into those albums, all the creativity that went into those albums. The record labels is threatening to take down Kanye West and Ty Dolla $ign's shit. So you tell me, who got more control over their shit? The record labels or these artists? So you don't have control over how much money you keep from your album being dropped. You don't have control of when to drop an album. You gotta wait until the label tells you could drop an album. You don't have control over whether or not your music gets the proper exposure and the proper marketing it deserves. There's a lot of things you don't have control over no more when you now are an employee for the record label. Granted, Kanye West is a megastar. Granted, Ty Dolla $ign is a superstar. Granted, but they still deal with these issues. If these big superstars deal with these issues with labels trying to rob them, labels trying to yo-yo their ass around and playing games with them, what makes you think they ain't gonna be playing games with your ass? What makes you think that these labels is gonna create a contract that's gonna be in your best interest? What makes you think that you're gonna have a deal where you're just gonna be rich and able to control your music the way you want to control your music if these mainstream artists are going through this shit? That's my question. What makes you think that? What makes you think that? So The record label is essentially showing that they have ownership of your shit. When you sign to a record label, for the most part, 9 times out of 10, what they're showing is they got ownership of your shit, of your work. They have ownership of what you created. Now, I don't know about you, but me personally, I don't want nobody else to have super ownership of the shit I created. Now, it's different if you saying, you know, you gonna take 10%, or shit, I'll even give you one better. It's different if you saying you're gonna take 12%, but you want to get 40% of my revenue from my album sales. You want 40% of the pie? Come on, man. Come on. Now that's just 2 artists, right? That's just Ty Dolla $ign and Kanye West. Could you imagine how many other successful artists on Atlantic Records they're robbing and taking a lot of money for? Let me not say robbing, but could you imagine how much other artists, their contract is designed in a way where Atlantic Records get a bulk of the money that the artist makes? Remember, it's the artist who's running around doing interviews. It's the artist who's running around doing concerts. It's the artist who's running around showing up for this, showing up for that. They got to show face for a lot of things. So most of the work that's being done, most of the legwork that's being done is done by the artist. It's the artist that's bringing the eyeballs to the label. It's the artist that's bringing the eyeballs to the music. It's the artist who makes the music. So how the fuck is it that you getting a 40% cut of my album that I produced and made? And this is what I always say. This is the dark truth of the record deal. This is the dark truth of the music industry. Kanye West, he just posted this. This is new. This is fresh. And he said this is what they do to independent artists. So this is why I say, as independent artists, we need to lock arms. We need to come together. And we need to say, fuck these record labels. Fuck who's mainstream. Fuck who's famous. Fuck these famous, you know, these famous connections that these record labels have. Fuck all that. We need to come together and treat our shit like we the superstars. We need to come together and treat our music like it matters and promote our music and have full ownership of our music and our masters and all of that stuff. That's what we supposed to be doing on independent artists. Why are we running around chasing these labels when these labels need us in order to get rich? These labels need artists in order to get rich. These labels need our creativity and our mind and our intellectual property and our creative property in order to get rich. So why the fuck are we running them down, begging them for a record deal? They should be coming to us, begging us to do a record deal in which they get a small piece of the pie. We get majority of the money, and we still get plugged in to their radio connections, to their big marketing outlets, to their big marketing programs. We should still have those connections, but at the end of the day, it should be reversed. It shouldn't be us artists, independent artists, starving for a record deal. They should be wanting to fucking work with us because we the ones who bringing in this money. We the ones who bringing in the listeners. We the ones who bringing in the fans. When's the last time you heard one of your friends say, oh man, I really care about the CEO of Atlantic Records. Oh man, I really want to listen to her stuff. I really want to be a fan of... Oh, I don't know what the fuck that was. But anyway, there's some noise going on in the balcony, but I just had to make sure and check everything was good. But yo, when's the last time you heard your friends talking about how they gonna go fucking see a show of, what's her name that they said? Of Julia Greenwald. Julie Greenwald. When's the last time you heard one of your friends say that? They gonna buy a ticket to Julie Greenwald's fucking concert. You ain't hear that. But you heard millions of people say they fans of Kanye West, right? You heard millions of people say they fans of Ty Dolla $ign, right? So this is what I'll be talking about. 300 to freedom. 300 to freedom. Make sure to like, comment. Let me know your thoughts on this. I want to hear what you think. What's your perspective on this? Like, comment, and make sure to subscribe. Also, make sure to hit the bell button so you can be notified whenever I drop new content. I'm telling you, I'm bringing the truth. I'm sharing with you what it is and how this shit works. Don't think that just because a motherfucker is famous or because he's mainstream that they're always happy with the business dealings of the labels. You know what I mean? Like, don't think that these artists, these rappers, these singers, they complain all the time about the way that these labels is dealing with them and treating them. Because to the labels, they just an employee at the end of the day. So that's why I always ask, do you really want to get signed to a major label? Is that something that you really feel like you need to succeed? Or would you much rather learn how to market yourself, how to brand yourself, and be able to keep majority of the money that you make, because rightfully so, it's yours. If you creating the music, you creating the merch, you creating the products, you creating what the people want to see, you creating the shows, you putting it all together. If you doing all of that shit, you might have a manager, but even still, you shouldn't have nobody getting 40% of your revenue that comes in from your creative property. In no land does that really make sense when you really think about it. 40% of your creative property that you stayed up hours and hours creating. Excuse me. You know what I'm saying? Like yo, shit gotta stop. Shit gotta stop. That shit gotta stop. We the ones with the work. We the ones bringing the work. I think we forget that. We the ones bringing the work. These labels don't know what's popping. They don't know what's hot. They don't know what the people like. We the ones with the talent. We the ones bringing that work. You know what I'm saying? And like, I don't know how much times I gotta say that. We the ones bringing the work. Period. You know what I'm saying? Like, 300 to freedom. You already know what we do. We're gonna bring the real. We're gonna bring that truth to the people. That's what we're gonna do. Like I always say, if you want to get connected with me, all the links are in the description below this video. All you got to do is check out all the links in the description of this video. Another thing you got to think about when it comes to working with these record labels is, what if the CEO changes? What if the people who used to work there, they get fired and they bring in a whole new regime and a whole new team? Will you still be an artist that they pay attention to? Will you be an artist that they still continue to fund and invest in and treat like a artist deserve to be treated, like a dope artist supposed to be treated? People don't think about that either. Like, don't you know, like, these record labels, they have things that change and they go through waves and ups and downs where they may fire a whole group of execs and bring in a whole nother group of execs. This shit happens all the time. And next thing you know, the artist that had built good relationships with the old execs, he don't got these, or she don't got these good relationships with these new motherfuckers. These new motherfuckers coming in the door is a whole different entity and they got a whole different mindset of how things should work in this label. And that's a lot of times you find that's why a lot of artists be getting dropped, and why they be wanting to change their labels is because the same motherfuckers that used to be buddy with them and they used to be the execs in the labels, they don't even work there no more. They might have gotten fired. They might have resigned. They might have gotten laid off. They might have had to switch to another label. A lot of things happen. So do you want your success and your future to be in the hands of these? You gotta understand, there's a small percentage of rappers who's touching most of the money. There's a small percentage of musicians who's touching most of the money. There's a small percentage. Most of them ain't making the big bucks. Most of them, a lot of them probably in debt. Unless they found a way to buy themselves out of their record deal, out of their record contract, and they found a way to build up a core fan base independently, and now they could do shows and make money. Now they could drop music and make money. Unless they did that, then most of them ain't touching the big money. It may look like, oh, everybody's getting rich. It may look like everybody's on that high level making millions of dollars a show. It may look like that, but when you really break it down, it's like, nah, like at the end of the day, the label always wins. At the end of the day, the label always wins. The label always wins. They taking 40%. Kanye just said they demanding 40%, or they taking that music down. So at the end of the day, if they could talk to Kanye like that and tell him what he needs to do, then that means that Kanye West ultimately works for them. It's not that they work for him. He works for them when it comes to the music industry and the label. So this is something to keep in mind. Check out all the links in the description below if you want to get connected with me. If you are a musician, there's a link in the description below that says something about my ebook, where I offer crazy valuable information and gems in a free ebook. You get access to that. And even if you're not a musician, you might be an entrepreneur, or if you just want to be a part of my list so you could get value, you could learn something, you could gain more knowledge, because that's what it's about. The only way to change your life is to improve your knowledge. Just subscribe to that ebook, right? Put in your email, subscribe to that ebook so that you could be on my list and you'll be updated whenever I drop new content and stuff like that, right? But if you want to get connected with me on all social media platforms, all the links is in the description below. get connected with me. This is your boy Jon Belcher, aka Jadis Cree. I got a new album on the way. Be on the lookout for that. I love y'all. Peace.